Hi, hello, what's up punks? My name is Tina. I love to yap about books, and today I'm not really sure about this video, but I hope you'll like it. It's how to start to read books in English, because I'm French myself, if you've not already picked up by my accent. And if you're not new here, you already know that, but if you're new, hi, welcome, I'm French. And I would have loved a video like this to kind of guide me through this universe, where to start. I'm very happy to do that, but unfortunately, here's a little disclaimer. This video will not be, I think, for the people who wants to start to learn English from scratch. You have at least to have some basic English in your vocabulary to already listen to it, watch maybe some movies, TV shows with either subtitles in your own language or in English. It's even better to try to learn new words. This video I think is for the persons who can already have a basic conversation in English or hear it often and wants to improve their English, their already existing English. Or it's for the people who are already reading books in their own language but are maybe tired of waiting for the translation, or the book is maybe not even gonna be translated in their native language. That was the case, for example, with a Vietnamese that I met. And yeah, she struggled a bit because they don't translate a lot of English books in Vietnamese, unfortunately. Or maybe you just want to read the original work. That works too. Everybody has their reason. For me, for example, it was a little bit of a mix of both. I wanted to improve my English, and I also was tired of waiting for the translation, or just, you know, the editions in French too, they're not really beautiful. So I'm a shallow person, I have to admit. For all these reasons, that's why I'm gonna share my experience. I'm in no way professional. I'm gonna share my humble advices and how I did it with my own experience and journey, which took a long time, a really long time. I studied years ago and I even gave up at some point, but I picked it up again, obviously. So if you have zero notion of English, I don't think it's gonna work. And I'm also counting on the fact that you have subtitles of your language for this video. Otherwise, all of this will not make any sense, but I'm really counting on that. Because I guess that if you're watching this video, you can grab an overall idea, general idea of what I'm saying. And if you're a native English speaker, thank you for being here. Maybe you can support me by watching this video, and maybe you can put in the comments some advices and things you think are useful. Just feel free to do that and to help us in the comments too. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. According to me, there are 3 steps to start to read books in English, whatever the reason. The first one is to choose your type of books. It's very important, otherwise you will be demotivated to continue. And for that, you have 2 options. Either you're a non-reader, you don't read at all, and in this case I would have some advices for you. First, I would suggest to target your interests, your hobbies, what you usually like to hear about, and either it can be by watching movies, TV shows, going to the theater, I don't know, listening to podcasts. It can be a lot of things, a lot of different things. Either you love to watch thriller, listen to thriller related story, historical fiction, historical things happening in real life, non-fiction, romance. It can be a lot of things. Or maybe you're just passionate about a type of universe. Maybe you're just also passionate about someone, fictional or not, a personality. It can be a lot of things, and you can read about these subjects or the universe or the genre. There are for sure a book out there for you. I can bet on that 100%. And if you haven't read a book ever, or maybe it was like 20 years ago and you're not sure about it and you don't feel comfortable with it, but you really want to get back to it, maybe start with a graphic novel or a manga. I made a whole video about mangas. I can link it somewhere here if you're interested. Or if you don't want to watch it, which I understand, you can just ask me questions in the comments too. I will be glad to answer to you and to try to help you. There are a lot of genres within the mangas and within the graphic novels. You can also start to read memoirs and nonfiction with graphic novels, because I think it can be a little bit more fun. That's my opinion. I don't know, even if it's still already fun to read a nonfiction in the novel format. So yes, where am I going with this? I don't know. The second case scenario is that you already read books in your own native language and you're not intimidated by them. Then I have two options for you. Either first, I would recommend to start a book in a universe, a domain you already know and you're already familiar with, because at least it will be less tiring to learn new words in a universe you already know, because you can already hold on to something. And for that, for example, I don't know, you want to read Lord of the Rings, which I would not really recommend, at least not Lord of the Rings trilogy, to read first in English. You have to be very comfortable already with English to read that, I guess, in my opinion. But take that example, if you already know the universe and the story, it will not take too much of your energy that you're always spending learning new words, which is very tiring, you'll see. At least you will have that to hold on to, because you don't have to spend this energy to picture it in your mind and to try to imagine it. So once again, I think that it will be less tiring to learn new words within a book with the whole heavy or not universe, and you have to picture it and grab the ambience and the atmosphere of the book. From my own experience, it was a very long time ago, I started with books that I was very curious about. It was the John Green's book, Paper Town, and I even bought like the Maze Runner, but because it was very tiring for me to learn new words and try to grab onto maybe the subtleties and what was happening, I struggled a bit. I like DNF'd the book without knowing that I was DNFing it at that time. I still have them in some boxes somewhere. Maybe I'll try to read them someday, because I obviously have them, but yeah. Sorry, all of that just to say that then a few years after I was in London, I wanted to read books from a universe you may already well acquainted with, that I really loved. And I'm not gonna speak of the author because the author is very problematic today and I don't want to make any promotion whatsoever, but you might already know about what books I'm talking about. And because I could grab a sense of what was happening and I knew the story already, it was easier, and I still had fun with it because you have a lot more in the books that you have in the movies. So I was really not fed up with it, and because I haven't read, I think, all the books in French, some of them, but not all of them. So that's how I did it, and that's how I got back into reading. Also, I started just before reading these books in this fantastic universe, Piranesi, and also The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was quite fine, but Piranesi was such a struggle for me. I would not recommend this book as a first-time reader of English books, because yeah, it's quite difficult to make the movie in your mind with this book. That was my own experience. But if you're concerned about reading a book you already read, or you already saw a movie or whatever, because you're maybe afraid to be bored or any reasons at all, I have some picks for you. I got you. First, I have a few short books to recommend to you. The first one, of course, it has to be it, The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. It's very short, very easy to understand. It's for children, but I truly think that it is adapted for every age. Even as an adult, you have something to get from this book. For sure, 100%. I have other short books that I have not read yet, but I'm really confident to bet that they're really good. I first have Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro, which is translated from Argentinian, if I'm not mistaken. It looks really good. There are also two books by Han Kong, and she won a Nobel Prize. Yeah, I think so. I think it was the Nobel Prize from Literature. I hope I'm not mistaken. I'll just put it on the screen if I'm mistaken. I would love to read Human Acts and The Vegetarian. They look really good, but they also seem to be a little bit more difficult to read, I would say, but I guess it's worth to take a try on them if you've already read some books. I absolutely want to read, and I'm planning on reading it very soon. It's One Day Everyone Will Have Been Against This by Omar El Akkad. He was born in Egypt, grew up in Qatar, and then moved to Canada and then United States. He's a journalist, and this looks fantastic. And another short nonfiction I would love to read very soon is Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. Yes. Also have some recommendations that are a bit longer, but they're really good. They're a true page turner and it's in the YA category. You first have Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne-Jones. So good. And of course none other than The Hunger Games, a real page turner too. If you've seen the movies already, it's still so worth it to read the books. You have things that you don't have in the movies. Even if you've read them in your own language, you can reread this series. It's so good that yeah, you can do that too. You have The Hobbit by Tolkien. I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy might be a bit hard to read in English, but The Hobbit a little bit less, because at first it was written for his kids, and so it's a little bit more accessible, I would say. And another one in the fantasy science fiction genre that I just started and I'm already addicted, it's the Dungeon Crawler Cult series by Matt Diniman. Not that easy to read, I would say, because it's a lit RPG fiction book and you have a lot of lit RPG video games reference, but it might be also a good exercise to learn those types of words, and you have a lot of also very common used, not in the slang, but familiar words, expressions. I would say it's an intermediate level, not like beginner. I think it's kind of hard for a first book. Maybe read other books before this one. And it's quite violent, to be aware. For the romance book, you have of course the Queen Emily Henry. My personal favorite is Funny Story. You can learn so many things from these books. I'm sure of that. And you also have books from Abby Jimenez too. My personal favorite for now is not Part of Your Worlds, because it's the first one from a series. I love the second one more, which is yours truly. Then you also have poems. They're really good to learn new things and they're really short. My favorite one is Forest of Noise. And for non-fiction, they are a little bit longer too, but you have any John Green non-fiction book. Everything is Tuberculosis, loved this one, and the After Pushing Reviewed also is very good because you can learn a lot of expression, I guess, and very random day-to-day words you can use too, so would recommend that too. It's hilarious. If none of my picks speaks to you, that's okay, no worries. We all have different interests. Don't hesitate maybe to ask me in the comment, because I can try maybe to direct you if you have a specific demand on a recommendation. I will try my best. But this is up to you, really. The most important, again, is to have fun. Otherwise, it will demotivate you to read in English. And also, I need to stress the fact that it's okay if you don't feel a book. Just stop it. Don't push through it. Otherwise, as I've said again, it will demotivate you to keep reading in English. So don't do it. Don't push through it. You need to try different things, and the goal is to, at the end, find what suits you most, what you like most. I spent not maybe years, but I spent at least 1 to 2 years trying to discern and find what my favorite genres are. Step 2, what format should you choose? First one, you have the digitally format, and the advantage is that if you have a phone, if you have a tablet, if you have a computer, whatever, if you have even an e-reader, I don't know if you've already one, maybe someone gave it to you, I don't know. You can have books on several apps and you can have them on your devices, which is very convenient. And the real advantage with the fact that it's digital is that you can directly search on the word what it means, usually. In most cases. It's also less expensive if you have already a device, and it's an advantage if you don't want to stack up books, if you don't want to collect them, if you're afraid of lacking space, then the digital option is the solution for you. But I would, of course, please don't buy Kindle. Don't feed Jeff Bezos, okay? Buy a Kobo instead. If you really want an e-reader, otherwise you can read on your computer, but it's less, I would say, convenient. You can read on your phone. You have apps on the phone, absolutely, or on the tablet, but it also takes a lot of battery on the tablet too. Yeah, that's really up to you. Second option, on paper. The good old paper, we love that. If you love to collect things, if you love the feeling of paper, the smell of a new book, then paper is for you. But also, if you don't want to spend money, go to your local library. That's a very good and affordable, and we are so lucky to have libraries. So go support them if you don't want to spend any money on books. And if they don't have books in English, then you can maybe ask them if they can buy some. That's a possibility. Or if your local library doesn't have any English books, maybe you can try to thrift them, to go to second-hand shops. Maybe you can try to find them online too. But yeah, at least the second-hand one is a cheaper option. You can also annotate digitally, of course, you can annotate things, but on paper you can annotate directly on paper too, or not. Which leads me to the step 3. Engage with your book. The system is really up to you. It's what you feel comfortable with. What I did was looking for every word I didn't understand. I directly annotated on my book, but you also have the option to put it on the notebook beside of it, or just put it on your computer. You have also options if you want to write on your book, but not directly on the pages. You have transparent stickers, sticky notes, pad, yes, to do that. So that's an option too. What I did, as I've said, was looking for every word, putting them directly on the book, which was very tiring. It will be at first, but that's okay. That's really okay. That's part of the learning process, okay? It is tiring for sure, but if you can grab the overall idea, it's a necessary step. You have to go through it, but it's okay. It's only part of the journey to get better, you know? So it's very satisfying at the end when you start to see that you don't have to look for every word and that you start to get better. That's what I did. It was a long process, but it was very worth it and very rewarding too. Other persons love to just grab the overall idea, the general idea of a page, of a chapter, and that's really okay too. It's really up to you and what works for you. That's the most important thing. And either you write the meaning of the words aside of them directly on the paper, either you write them on a notebook, either you, I don't know, you can even register your voice if it helps you to listen to it. It's really up to you. You have different options. Feel free. The world is your oyster. Is that the expression? Yes, I guess so. So I'm done with the advices. All you need to do now is to take the jump, to take the fall. I don't know how to say it, but to just try. And you have nothing to lose, really. I hope this helped you. If you have any doubts, look at me. I started years ago. I even stopped in between, and now I'm reading a lot of books in English. I'm just still intimidated to read epic high fantasy books in English. I started with Lord of the Rings. It was not that easy, but I still like reading Game of Thrones in French because yeah, it's too much. Or Robin Hobb's book in French too, because yeah, it's so intimidating. But I will start to try to read them in English, because you have to start at some point somewhere if you want to get better. And now I'm even making YouTube videos about it in English. And another thing to help you to improve your English, if it's your goal, is to speak in English. Because when I first started this channel, you might know already because you might follow me from the first few videos I've made, but it was really not easy for me to speak what I was thinking. I always had like small time lapse of what I'm gonna say and how do I translate it in English, what I'm thinking about saying, you know. And words are coming to me more easily now, I would say, and that's practice. That's how you get better. It's by reading, it's by speaking it, because even if reading helps you to improve your vocabularies and what you understand, expressing yourself is a whole another level, I assure you. But I'm not gonna rumble too much about that. It's just to show you that if you want, if you have the motivation, you can try at least, and you might go somewhere with it. You never know. So the conclusion of this video would be, try and see where it goes. You have nothing to lose, really. And with that, punks, as always, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, that it helped you, and best to see you on the next video. But most importantly, thank you for being nice. That's what I appreciate the most with this little corner of internet, and that's what motivates me too. And with that, I have to say bye.